we have returned. As I said, this is a multiple-part serialized conversation, hopefully of great depth, with a good friend, associate, Brad Blanton. I gave a long intro before, so you can go to the first segment and you can find out who he is. We'll find out more through our conversation about the Korporate Kannibal Kookbook. The empire is consuming us. Either we eat them or they eat us. So let's get cooking or cooking. So I'm going to start out with a reading here.
Okay.
And then we'll have some conversation around it. And this is a quote of a quote, actually, right from the preface. So this is the start that says, "The money powers prey upon the nation in times of peace and conspire against it in times of adversity. It is more despotic than monarchy, more insolent than autocracy, more selfish than bureaucracy. I see in the near future a crisis approaching that unnerves me and causes me to tremble for the safety of my country. Corporations have been enthroned. An era of corruption will follow, and the money power of the country will endeavor to prolong its reign by working on the prejudices of the people until the wealth is aggregated in a few hands and the republic is destroyed." Now, I would say, if I didn't know who wrote that somebody did this yesterday or, the last year or so.
Exactly.
You want to take off on that and talk about somebody who had a prophetic vision?
Well, that's from William Jennings Bryan, about a little over 100 years ago. And it sounds like what you can read on most anything these days. Truth Dig, probably. And I put it there at the beginning because it's been no secret for really actually hundreds of years that the corporatocracy is a dangerous thing, and that the real powers that hurt people do so for profit. That we've been, for about the last 10,000 years, we've been forming up in city-states, and we've been taking from all the people out on the periphery. We've been getting our food and our goods and our wealth, taking it from them and keeping them poor in order that we can be rich. And that this has been going on for a long, long time. No one has ever been quite as good at it as the United States of America. And whereas to most Americans, our view of America is something valuable and positive, the truth is that America is not valuable and positive.
Well, it's evolved that way, but I don't want to defend America or any specific individuals, but it seems to me that some of this has been imported in a way from Europe and the monarchies and the power held in the hands of few. You can call it oligarchies or a monarchy with a king or a queen or whatever for many, many years. And then some people got on these ships and came to this country because they wanted freedom, and the oligarchy followed, if you know what I mean, and reestablished itself here.
Right.
Okay.
And so our current plutocracy has its history in Europe. That's true.
Yeah.
It's just that our current plutocracy, billions and billions of dollars, is more than anyone needs. It's more than a corporation needs. It's more than an individual needs. And I'm saying in this book, basically, they own this government. They own both parties of our two-party system. And basically, those of us who think other than them have no power, and that the economic power, that we're going to have an opportunity here with the economic collapse that they're bringing about through their greed, and that I believe none of us have a right to be too righteous about it. We actually would be just like them. If we had those same opportunities to steal from everyone, we probably would be that way. So I'm saying, rather than trying to fix cannibalism, why don't we use cannibalism to control cannibalism? And I'm just suggesting that we begin by eating from the top. And that if we just killed and ate and took all the goods of merely 1,193 multi-billionaires.
You've done your research on this, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's all laid out in the book, that we would have some $13 billion to pay off all world debt of all nation states, everybody's mortgages, put shelter, food, medical care, housing, everything for everyone in the world for 4 or 5 years until we got something else started.
Wait a minute. What's the number
and
you're
this
saying?
is done. Just I got to put the whole thought there.
Yeah, go ahead.
This alternative is, instead of having something like 2.5 billion children die and another 500 million old adults and and innocent people, about 3 billion people versus 1,193 thieves and murderers who've done business for profit. The majority of them have done business for profit by killing people.
Okay, 1,193 billionaires.
Mm-hmm.
So the number 13 billion, it sounds like there should be more money available from them than 13 billion. I mean,
way much more.
Yeah.
No, 13 trillion.
Okay, 13 trillion. Because you said
I got it wrong.
It's
hard. All those figures are very hard to keep track of. Anyway,
people don't understand what those numbers.
$13 trillion. That's
okay,
right.
13 trillion.
Yeah, right.
So basically, a redistribution of wealth settles all the problems we're having right now, if we could find a way to do that.
Yeah, I'm advocating that we redistribute their protein as well. And
you've already had, I think I mentioned this to you off mic, you've already had the SUVs, the black SUVs at your front door once before. Now, is this you're going to be interpreted as doing a terrorist act here to the 11th?
I don't know, and I don't really give a damn. I mean, I think Julian Assange is a great hero, and I'm so happy about WikiLeaks. I'm trying to have this be the WikiLeaks of personal information about everyone that's multi-billionaires. I hope this is the beginning of revealing how these people are ripping us off.
Yeah. Well, I've called you the truth doctor many times from the early days back in the 90s, and it's one thing that is not done in our society, people telling the truth. Mm-hmm. And here's a guy, Assange, who comes out and he's trying to do transparency.
Yeah.
And it's been made wrong. Mm-hmm. Now, some are going to argue, well, it's in the name of national security. Any comments on that?
Well, national security is BS anyway.
Okay. All right. That's good. Thanks for using those kind terms. All right. Okay. All right. So let's pick up on this, which is 2 in the list, corporate cannibalism. Okay. Mm-hmm. We're going to take a break here. I want to go through the whole list of 7, but it sounds like from what you're saying, this is the most important part of the strategy in terms of taking money and redistributing the resources, financial and natural resources, so that, as I've heard from Native Americans, indigenous people, who really owns the earth? I know we get title to land and all that, and maybe some of it's good for the order, but isn't this a gift for us as a collective to be here?
Yeah.
And ownership is something's wrong with that.
Right. Well, this is actually the central. I've got 7 big ideas that go together to make one synthesized idea, which Jeremy Rifkin calls the empathic civilization. That's a great book, by the way, Jeremy Rifkin's book.
Recent book?
Yeah, just out in January this year, The Empathic Civilization.
Okay, I'm making a note of that. Do you know Jeremy?
No, I don't know him personally. I really do value him from reading his writings prior to this and this book.
He has been an activist for I don't know how many years, and I had the good fortune of seeing Jeremy at a Choices for the Future symposium with John Denver up in Colorado, and I remember where he said we went off. Now we can talk about the wealthy people. We're going to take a break here. He said, when we went from the speed of a horse to the steam engine is when we went out of balance, because then things went too fast, faster than we could run or the horses could move us. I don't know if that's true or not, but I like it. All right, so with Brad Blanton's with us. We're going to take a break. I'm going to have him go through these 7 strategies here that are really the essence of the book, Korporate Kannibal Kookbook. We'll be right back.